Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show and we are discussing about health insurance. Next challenge is not about claims approval but about the entire claims process. With me is Amit Chhabra and Mahavir Chopra discussing on this. Amit, I'll come to you. Should insurers bear a greater burden of proving misrepresentation rather than asking customers to prove innocence? Has that time come now?
Well, yes, absolutely. I think the industry is moving in that direction. If you look at the last set of regulations that has come, it's essentially saying that if a document has to be procured from a hospital, it's the job of the insurance company. If we have to prove that a customer is innocent or guilty, that should be proved by the insurance company and not the customer. Is this being followed to the T right now? Hand at heart, I don't think it's being followed to the T right now, but I think the industry is getting there. So again, I feel the responsibility of this lies both at the consumer and the insurance company, I would say. I'll give you simple examples, right? A lot of times consumers miss sharing a lot of information with the insurance company at the time of buying the policy. Now, if that happens, then then the insurance company is also sort of right to look for such instances. So I feel that it's both the insurance company and the consumer. Then I feel at the end of it, and this is what we were discussing, just before this as well, a consumer has to also be responsible when they're buying the policy. It is all about doing your due diligence, doing your research, making sure that you are aware of what you are buying, making sure that you are declaring of any past medical conditions. If that happens, then Kavita, the bottom line is that your claim will never get rejected. You have to know what you have bought and you must declare any existing conditions. There is no other reason why a claim will ever get denied. In fact, a lot of insurance companies, and today we at PolicyBazaar also, we really motivate all our consumers that if you're going for a claim, tell us beforehand. Because if you do it, then it just ensures that the claim is absolutely seamless because it is a positive selection by default, right? So one of the things, so again, it's, as I said, it's partly consumer, partly the insurance company. If both behave responsibly, then claims are going to be a cakewalk. Are we there yet? No, the answer is no, but we will get there.
Last question, and to both of you. Mahavir, you first. If you were redesigning India's health insurance system from scratch, what is the first thing you would eliminate and why?
I think I would bring in more accountability. I think the burden, I agree with Amit to a certain extent, but there are certain things that I don't agree with. One of the things is that basically when we are looking at mass level increase of adoption in health insurance, we cannot keep the burden on the customer. The burden has to be on the manufacturer or the distributor to collect that information in the most diligent fashion. So the only thing that needs to be solved in my view is bringing in accountability. Once you bring in accountability on the person who's selling the policy and whoever is basically in the entire realm of basically helping the customer buy the policy, if you do that correctly and you pull the right people and you ensure that at the time of claims there is that accountability of the person who sold the policy, if you do that well, I think a large percentage of the problem gets solved. Because once an accountability is brought into picture and there is enforcement on that, then everything related to whatever we spoke about in that ensuring that education is done properly, awareness is done properly, there is empathy at the time of claims, there is communication that happens well at the time of claims gets solved.
Amit, I'll come to you.
I think the one change that is needed, and it will happen in the due course in India, is we have to bring the consumer into the equation as well. India is actually one of the only countries in the world today where health insurance policies are sold without deductible, without co-payment. There are no limits. It's just too good to be true. And you can actually get unlimited sum insured at one of the cheapest prices in the world. That I feel is also one of the challenges. So if I have to do it all over again, I think we have to bring the consumer into the mix. If a consumer is going to a hospital, some part has to be paid by the consumer as well. The moment that happens, a lot of this anti-selection totally goes away and claims will become absolutely seamless. I'll give you a simple example. In Singapore, the regulator has mandated that every health insurance policy sold has to have co-payment. You cannot sell a policy without co-payment in the country. That's a regulation. So I think as consumers come into the mix, automatically the claims experience will also become easier. And I think this 83% claims experience metric that we have, this will edge closer towards 100. But that said, Kavita, I want to end by saying that all is not lost. Still 6 out of 7 people are happy with the claims experience. It's just the one out of the seven that we have to solve for. And I think the industry is really trying. The regulator is trying. You know, a lot of regulations have come out in this direction. And I'm sure in the next few years, this 83 will inch towards 100 as we go forward.
One last comment from Mahavir. Do you agree about the customers also being in the mix, Mahavir?
I think there is merit obviously in that. Amit is coming from his so much of rich experience of doing that. But the problem is that when it's not explained properly, right, and people are not aware of it properly, is where the problem comes. And at a mass level, it becomes very difficult for that to get achieved. Instead of there being a mix in where a customer is allowed, meaning there is a deduction in the claim and the customer has to pay for it, there can be basically some by which prudence can be brought into how customers choose a hospital or choose care, right? Like, for example, if I have a health insurance, if I'm trained properly or I'm being incentivized properly that I choose a private room or a semi-private room and I don't choose a deluxe room or a super deluxe room just because I have insurance, that's where basically you can bring in incentives, you can bring in more education to solve that, is where I would basically look at. Deductions, or basically where a customer has to pay from their pocket, is something that I feel is still like 5-7 years from now, where customers get more mature to be able to do that and are also educated that that is how it is going to work.
All right. So what emerges from today's discussion is that the real challenge in health insurance is no longer just about whether a claim gets approved. It is about the customer goes through during that journey. When a family is dealing with a medical emergency, they are looking for reassurance, clarity and support, not confusion, delays and endless paperwork. Health insurance at its core is a promise that in a moment vulnerability, the system will stand by you. And that is why the future of the industry will be defined not only by claim settlement numbers, but by how simple, transparent and stress-free the claims experience becomes. And with that, it's a wrap on the show as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking our time out for this very crucial matter. Thank you. And for our viewers, keep sending us your questions. This is a show where we answer all your live questions as well. So anything about investment and insurance, we have your back. That's a WhatsApp number, email ID flashing on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.